And by the way, you want to talk about hypocrisy? I'm about to get the hypocrite crown right now. Because in my notes, I have a simple way, a real simple way to love others, a real simple way to serve others is in a parking lot that is always so jam-packed. Well, what if you were to take the farthest spot available? What if you were to actually park over at Burcott's? Now, when you walk out, the Hyundai Santa Fe, the black one, right by the back door of the church, or the side, that's mine. So I put it in the notes, and then I totally didn't do it. But a simple way to serve. So these don't always have to be causes or charities or ministries. Simple things like, I will park the farthest away so that somebody else can park close. That's a simple thing to do. You can find out who needs their lawn mowed, who needs their car repaired, who needs their pantry stocked. And then step up and make sure that we do those things. And all of us have these different skill sets. I can't fix your car. I can mow your lawn. I could probably get you some groceries and put them in your fridge. I had a gentleman, Mike Biederstadt, this week. He came out to my house one night, and he fixed a couple of light switches for me, and he repaired our faucet for us. And I told him from the beginning, like I tried to make it super clear, I am hiring you. I am hiring you. I think this is like the president where I can't accept gifts or something, so I want to hire you. And so he came out there, and what can we give you? What can we give you? What can we give you? And he's like, listen, just stop, please. It's embarrassing. He said, donate to the hurricane or something like that. But please, I've got these skills that people have taught me, and I want to be able to do for others. I'm like, man, that's a great example. And so if you have light switches or faucets, Mike would love to demonstrate the love of Christ. He'll do that. You know, going on hospital visits and Mark Bretal, and there's another gentleman who doesn't even frequent our church. His name is Jack, and he's gone through a pretty serious health issue in the last couple of days, and people from our church have gone and visited these folks and just gone to minister to them. And even Terry's led up a charge for the hurricane relief. And maybe you're part of the pancake breakfast yesterday, or maybe you've made a donation, and she asked me to remind the church today that that particular act of love is still in need of donations. And so when you walk out of the sanctuary today, if you're so inclined, if the Holy Spirit is working on you right now, and by the way, you should never act out of guilt. Please don't ever do something for guilt. Do it when the Holy Spirit prompts you or leads you. But if you feel like you should be a part of that, at the back of the foyer, there's a table there, and Terry will be out there. You can talk to her about what needs they still have. Maybe you want to get involved with your body, your hands, your feet, or maybe you want to make some sort of a donation. And the other thing that Terry has asked is, because they have a team that's actually going to Texas, if we'd be willing to pray for them. And so we'll gather up in the foyer afterward, and if you want to be a part of that, we'll take a few minutes and we'll pray for the team who's going down to serve the people who have been hurt and have had their lives affected in Texas. And I'll finish with this today. We started today in John 13. Well, if you go back and read that whole passage, you'll see that Jesus was washing his disciples' feet. And in our culture, that sounds nasty, but we don't really grasp the fullness of it. And so, washing feet in a culture where people wore sandals and walked on dusty roads and then entered a home that probably didn't have carpet, right? Washing feet in that culture was reserved for the lowest servant in the home. It wasn't just like the servants, it was the lowest servant in the home who got that particular job. And you can understand why. I mean, their feet. Right? Their feet. Feet in sandals, they're dirty, it's just nasty. And Jesus, when he's telling his disciples about service, takes his robe off, and he didn't get naked. He had a robe over. But I love that, because when I think of somebody who wears a robe, I think of a royal robe. I don't know if you do. I think of a royal robe. And so when Jesus took his robe off, to me it's this imagery of how the king himself said, I am going to take my sovereignty for a moment, and I'm not going to give it away because I'm Jesus. I'm the king. I'll always be the king. But I'm going to take my robe off for a minute. And then Jesus gets down and he proceeds to wash the feet of all of his disciples. The King of Heaven is washing dirt and manure and just nasty stuff off the feet of his disciples. And here's where I want to really bring it in. The Bible points out that Jesus knew one of those disciples was going to betray him in just a few hours. Jesus also knew which disciple was going to betray him in a few hours. A disciple named Judas. And so Jesus didn't get down and wash the feet of 11 disciples. He didn't skip Judas. He washed the feet of 12 disciples, including the one who would turn him into the authorities and have him hung on a cross to be crucified. And so when we talk today about loving your neighbor and loving your enemy, Jesus himself does what Jesus always does. He demonstrated it. He modeled it for us. And so if you see this little cologne bottle up here and you're saying, what is that bottle? What is sweet smelling? Here's what it is. You and I are supposed to look like Jesus. We're supposed to behave like Jesus. Talk like Jesus. We're supposed to be like Jesus. Basically, we're supposed to be these clones. And when we do, church, when we do that, it is the sweetest smell to our Father in heaven, who says this aroma is pleasing when you, my people, love one another, love your neighbor, love your enemy, just like Jesus did. The worship team is going to play our last song today. And I want you to know that I'd like our culture of our church to become this. During the final song of our services, please know that you can come forward. You can use this space. You can pray. Pray all by yourself. You can pray with our prayer partners who are available to you. If you need somebody to pray with you or pray for you, they'll be here every Sunday. If you want anonymity and you don't want everyone to know that you're praying or that you can go out into the foyer and there will be somebody out there who has a name tag and a prayer partner tag. They want to pray with you, pray for you. And I don't want to have to tell you every week because I'll forget. I just want you to know that this time is yours. The space is yours. The prayer partners are for you. And so if you have anything that you feel like you need to respond to God, anything at all that is spoken to you today, whether it was a song or a sermon or just the Holy Spirit working on you, please know that you can come forward and pray. And I'm going to step down in a moment when they start to sing. I'm going to stand right here. I'm going to put my arm around my son. And I'm going to pray that God would show me how to love like Jesus. That I would love like Jesus. And that I would be an aroma that is sweet and pleasing to my God in heaven.